What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to go over everything you need to know to lose your stubborn belly fat and drop weight month after month, even with your busy schedule as a business owner. And I'm a business owner myself, so I know how challenging it is to balance both your business and the time you dedicate to it to your health as well, because you're constantly wearing so many different hats. Marketing hats, sales hats, hats for employment and management, and there's a lot of different things that you have to do all the time. And you rarely get to wear the hat that is made for yourself and your own health. And today we're going to show you how you can wear that hat, not all the time, but just enough, just by dedicating 45 minutes a week to your health and still be able to see some incredible results. So let's get right into it. So this is probably what you're struggling with right now, a long list of different things if you're a business owner, right? So one of them is that you're just super tired all the time, right? Super tired. You have little to no energy to actually dedicate to your health because you've run out of energy by the time you're done with your busy workday and you just want to go to bed and get ready for the next day. Your business demands a lot of early mornings and late hours, and there's just not much time to dedicate to your health because you're so busy. And because you're so busy, you're wearing so many different hats, like we said earlier, and you're rarely wearing the hat that's actually dedicated for yourself. And there's pretty much nothing holding you accountable right now except yourself, and you find this challenging amidst a myriad of responsibilities of business ownership, right? And this is why having a coach is so helpful when you are in situations like that, so you can get that extra push in case you need it, right? And a lot of you guys are sedentary, managing multiple aspects of your business, being glued to your desk for long periods of time behind the computer like I am right now. And with a sedentary lifestyle like that, it makes it pretty difficult to stay active. Hard time sticking with your diet because you have constant distractions with your business decisions, leaving pretty much no room for meal planning at all whatsoever. You have no time to work out, and when you do find a moment, which all of you do really have time, right? Even though you feel like you don't, you can't bring yourself to start because you're so burnt out from managing your business, right? And you have no accountability or structure to apply a fitness plan that works for you or fits into your packed schedule. You're committed to making a change, though. You're sick and tired of having a gut and having stubborn belly fat and not having your health where you want it to be. But amidst all this going on with your business, you just don't know where to start. And you've tried restrictive diets and programs in the past, counting calories, counting macros, food weighing, etc. And although the profit margins are great with your business and everything's going really well, you just feel so drained from getting your business to where it is now that you don't have time. You don't have the bandwidth to actually count and restrict and track calories whenever you get home from a long day of work. And the last thing you want to do is start weighing your food and doing crazy stuff that you really shouldn't be doing. And then you just say, screw it, you throw your hands up and you end up just cheating and completely going off your diet and giving up. And if that sounds like you should definitely watch this video because we're about to come up with some great solutions. So the three main barriers are very similar to guys that also work in IT or any other guy that works long hours behind the computer, which is lack of time, nutrition, and little to no accountability or structure, right? And when it comes to lack of time, made a video about this already, which I'll drop down below, really proving to you guys that you do have time, which is 45 minutes that you can dedicate each week, right? 3 15-minute bouts of exercise is all you need to target each muscle group each week with a push-pull leg split, for example, or a full body split or any other split that you want to do, right? And if you target each muscle group each week, you can get the benefits necessary to boost your metabolic rate and eat more of the foods that are going to serve you well. And when it comes to meal prepping too, right, you really don't have to spend hours in the kitchen either, even though many people feel like you do, in order to get the best diet plan that you really want here. But if you really just spend 30 minutes per week in the kitchen, you can make well north of 6 meals if you batch it all together. Let's say you're making a pound of ground beef, right? And you also want to get some veggies on the side, so you just microwave it at the same time. Let's say it's some cauliflower, broccoli, and some sweet potatoes, right? You really could, if your microwave's big enough, you could cook it all together, or you could just go with one side and then be cooking that ground beef in 2 separate pans. And if you do both at the same time, you microwave one thing and you're cooking one thing on the stove, you can have it done in 10 minutes, especially if you're cooking at somewhat of a high heat. And then you have some delicious 85 to 50% ground beef, which is a ground beef I usually recommend to most clients to get a 1-to-1 fat to protein ratio so they can get more satiety. And you also got some additional vegetables that you can eat too. And when it comes to getting additional sides as well, you don't always have to cook your sides. You can get grab and go fruit that works for you, right? Pears, apples, bananas, etc. are great examples of foods that you can have on the side with your main course that literally require no time, none of your time to make at all whatsoever. I do this all the time. I always grab plums, pears, apples, etc. Foods that I don't have to cook, so I can save time whenever I want to grab something really quick before a workout or throw in an additional side with my main course. I cook all my own food, all here at my own house, and I have plenty of time after to spare even when I'm done working. And I only spend about 30 minutes in the kitchen as well, just following this philosophy, really batching all my meals together, making it with one big source, whether it be with a bunch of chicken, mackerel, sardines, a bunch of salmon, ground beef, whatever it may be. I usually batch it all together and make it all at once, cook it with some additional vegetables and fruit, or just grab the fruit itself and then just package it all in a container, right? Or 6 separate containers if I want to diversify it into each meal. And then you just throw that into the fridge and you microwave it the next morning. I mean, that's just basic meal prep right there, but people will tell you that it takes hours. I mean, it can if you want to follow a super complicated recipe, but you really don't if you want to make this an enjoyable and effective lifestyle change. So there you have it, right? You can absolutely meal prep and exercise and have it take just 1 to 2 hours per week of your time. And even if you're working 80 hours a week and you're still awake for another 10 hours, which most of you guys aren't even working that much anyway, even though you're doing a lot for your business right now, that's definitely time that you do have. 1 to 2 hours per week, come on. If you're saying you don't, you're lying to yourself, you're not making time for what's important, and that's what actually needs to change, not your schedule. So calculate the amount of hours you're working and just highlight the windows of time, right? You can still do this even if you're working 80 hours a week like I just said. I made a whole video about this talking about how you actually do have time. I'll link it down below. It literally shows you a chart of 2 typical work schedules, one that's a little crazy and one that's not as crazy, and still how we find well north of 20 hours per week that you can dedicate to your health, even if you're working north of 70 hours per week. So once again, I run a business online. This is what I look like here on the left, back when I had a little bit more of a beard and not a goatee. And this is my current body fat percentage. I did take this in 2022, took another one in 2021. It was actually 4.3%. I'm planning on taking one here in 2024 and updating you guys here on the channel, but usually hangs around 4 to 5%. And I follow the exact same philosophy as all my clients. I don't spend hours in the kitchen. I don't spend hours in the gym. Dedicate just about 2 to 3 hours per week to my health. I target each muscle group each week. I don't miss a workout and I don't miss a meal. I'm constantly consistent with my dieting regimen and I still make it work, right? And you guys can make it work too if you just don't make excuses and you put yourself on the top of the priority list, which is ultimately what you have to do. You just have to recognize that the state that your body and your health is in right now is in a suboptimal state and it just needs to change. And the moment you make that change and decide to shift is when you'll make that shift with your health. The moment you change your mindset, it's really more of a psychological piece rather than just your schedule itself. And that's the big takeaway for today, right? So nutrition, same thing, right? We were talking about meal prepping earlier, but a big one is temptations that I mentioned here on number 1. And if you're working from home, right? Let's say you're operating your business from home, there's a lot of temptations that are at the house, right? And that really is just an opportunity for you to take a stand for yourself and to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations and just say the 2-letter word no all the time. And the more you do that, as uncomfortable as it is sometimes, or as brutal it can be, as it could be, right, with your kids that are constantly nagging you to go get ice cream or whatever it is, the more you say no, the more they'll respect you. Because if you continue to say yes to every little thing that they say, everything that your wife says, anytime somebody wants to go out and just eat McDonald's, eat garbage crap, pick up junk food from the gas station whenever you're stopping for gas, you're just putting yourself in a position of lower levels of respect from your family. And once again, I know this sounds brutal, but it really is true, right? Think about the French fry analogy. Let's say 2 people are eating French fries, right? We got John and then we have Jake. And Jake just keeps on stealing John's French fries over and over. And John doesn't do anything. He just sits there and just lets him grab them over and over and over, right? So when they go to meet again to get French fries at McDonald's, Jake is going to know that he could just steal John's French fries all day without getting his hand slapped because there's no respect there. There's no boundaries, right? But then we got scenario number 2 here where Jake goes to reach for a fry from John, and then John slaps his hand and says, "Hey, dude, what are you doing? You got to ask first." I bet you Jake will ask John next time he's going to grab a French fry. Really basic, dumbed down, simple example there. But it's the same exact thing whenever you're struggling with temptations and uncomfortable conversations when there's junk food around you in the house or when you're eating with coworkers at the office. Whenever you have that first instance where you draw the line in the sand, you show them where the boundary truly is with you and your health, and you say no, they will respect that. And if they don't, then they're showing their true colors. And that means you probably should have had this conversation, 1, a long time ago, or 2, they don't really care about you or your health goals. And that's a brutal reality to accept, and it would be a better one to accept now rather than later. So that's really the ultimate way to shut down temptations, is just to go at it full force, draw that line in the sand, and take a stand for yourself. And a lot of you guys don't know what you should be doing. And the last thing you want to do is counter-restrict calories or following any other restrictive diet. This is so funny. I meant to correct this in the last video for number 2. I just had a big typo here. I like to use voice dictation, so you guys have probably been laughing at me this whole time. But anyway, I totally get it, right? Coming back to caloric restriction, none of you guys really want to do that. None of you guys want to count or restrict or track calories, be in a caloric deficit, or follow anything that's super restrictive, right? And there's some of you that feel like that's the only way to lose weight. And if you feel that way, it's actually not true. How plenty of men lose ridiculous amount of body fat, eating thousands of calories every single day, not controlling it at all whatsoever, and just controlling the quality of their food and the impact that had on insulin. And if you want to learn more about that and why a caloric deficit actually doesn't work, I'll drop my video below on a caloric deficit and how it really doesn't work. It doesn't address the root cause of weight gain and why you don't even have to do it. So as for all of you guys that feel like you have to follow a caloric deficit in order to see results, you really don't. What you guys really should be focusing on is what I alluded to earlier, which is focusing on the quality of your food and the hormonal implications of what you're eating, right? 500 calories of salmon is much different than 500 calories of ice cream, right? And just because they both have 500 calories doesn't mean they're both equally as fattening, right? One has a paragraph of ingredients that's full of maltodextrin and other added sugars, and one just has one single ingredient. Salmon. Naturally sourced animal protein. Obviously, salmon is not equally as fattening as a brownie. It's not. So that's why it's important to realize that the quality will take care of the quantity if you're getting properly satiated and you're eating foods that are not going to elevate your blood glucose levels and elevate insulin to where you're in a position where this food, this fuel source, is going to be stored as body fat around the subcutaneous adipose tissue or the visceral region. And as long as you put yourself in a position every single time you're eating meals that aren't fattening and won't give you a negative insulin response, and instead it'll give you a good insulin response. In other words, it's not going to spike insulin through the roof and leave it elevated for hours on end, and it's actually going to satiate you with some higher fat, higher protein animal options with some naturally sourced fruits and vegetables that work for your particular weight loss goal. That is what's going to help you lose weight consistently rather than just focusing solely on the quantity of the food that you're eating so much to the point to where you just rebuke quality. Don't be that guy. Be the outlier that actually focuses on the quality of their food and the hormonal impact it has. You'll never have to count or restrict a single calorie ever again. And that is the case for Brian here, who lost 10 pounds in his first 3 weeks. And of course, he's lost a ridiculous amount of overall body fat and belly fat as well. And you can see the exact same results if you take action like he did and you just focus on the quality of your food and you really just dedicate about 45 minutes to 2 hours of your time to your health, which is really all he did here. He did a 4-day split. Each workout was about 30 to 40 minutes maximum. Usually it was on average about 30 minutes. And that's just 2 hours of exercising, right? And with the additional meal prepping that he was doing, it was taking about an hour or so. So that's about 3 hours per week that he's dedicating to his health. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Just depends on the week. but he runs a surface water program business. He is a business owner as well, and he was still able to see such incredible results. And this just shows that you guys can see the exact same thing if you just take action for yourself and you move yourself up on the priority list instead of lowering yourself on the priority list and just taking action anyway with what the time that you know you have, right? So his strength is going up like crazy, right? He was never craving the gym so much, but now he's craving it every single time it's time to go to the gym and it's time to complete a workout. He hit 540 on the leg press, and he's never felt strength like that before, and this was really, really cool to see. And here's a quick video of him actually talking about how much he actually craves the gym and how much he loves going to the gym. So pretty dang cool, right? If Brian, being the business owner that he is, can get into that mindset where he's hitting 540 on the leg press, seeing a ridiculous amount of body fat loss, overall fat loss, and just loving the routine while doing it and having the time to do it, even with his busy schedule as a business owner, that you guys can do the exact same thing if you, first of all, know you find a plan that actually works for you, that's effective, and then two, you find a plan that's actually going to be enjoyable that you can stick to long term, just like Brian did, right? And that's why getting the accountability and the structure necessary to make that work is going to be really, really important. Because if you've been struggling for years and years and years and years, and you still can't see results, and you have the exact same schedule that has you advancing in your career, but your health is just staying stuck in one place, it's not progressing at all whatsoever, nothing close to how much your career is advanced, then that's how you know it's time to stop cutting corners and to really make this a priority to invest in yourself, a coach, or anything else that can hold you accountable to keep you consistent. Because there's nothing wrong with it, right? A lot of guys will get egotistical about hiring a coach, but if you think about it, if you've been stuck in the exact same position doing the exact same thing, and you're in a state right now where you just need some help, there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I understand this too, like being in this position as a guy. I've had coaches in my life, and I've had times where I didn't want to hire a coach, even though I really needed to anyway. But the moment I did, I just wish I would have done it earlier. There's so many different things just beyond health, business, life, mindset, etc. Having a coach in your life is a game changer if you're actually willing to make the investment in yourself with the disposable income that you guys have. And if you want to make this happen, I'm more than happy to be your coach and to help you get a flat stomach and lose weight sustainably and consistently each and every month. If you want to click the link on the top, middle, or bottom of the video description to speak with me directly, I'd be more than happy to help you out there. So at the end of the day, if you have no accountability or structure, you can have the best diet in the world, the best strategies in the world to save you time so you can see more results. But if you end up having this time and you highlight it on your calendar, and you know it's there, and you have a strategy to make it work, and you don't want to apply the strategy because you're not motivated and you have no one holding you accountable, you won't do it, especially when you've had the same schedule and the same strategies in the back of your mind for years and years, but you haven't taken any action with it. You have to make time for what's important, which is yourself, and there's a lot of underlying reasons for sure as to why you want to see the results that you not only want to see but need to see. And that's what really should be motivating you to change here. It could be health reasons, confidence reasons, a lot of different reasons actually play into this, because I'm sure you guys don't want to just lose weight or lose your stubborn belly fat or lose any body fat at all whatsoever for just no reason. You have a specific deep reason as to why you want to do it. And that health reason, confidence, whatever it is only going to get more and more noticeable as you get older and as time goes on. When you continue to push this off for longer and longer and longer, you're going to feel less and less confident the longer you put this off. Your type 2 diabetes, your cardiovascular risk, your health overall is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse the more you put this off. And there really is no better time to take action than the present. The moment you start saying that you're going to do something tomorrow is the moment you have completely excluded the idea of doing it, not only just today, but ever. So if you're in that rut right now, it's time to snap out of it and take action in the present. Whether you hire me as a coach or not, I don't care. You guys need to make it happen for yourselves, because if you're not going to make it happen for you, no one else is going to be able to do it for you, right? Even if you do hire a coach. So that's basically it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope you business owners have a good idea on what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be in order to see the consistent weight loss that you want to see. And Other than that, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at It's Bobby O'Brien, and I will see you guys in the next video.